how can we literally feel into
Mm-hmm.
people's loss when we're so different?
This is called meditation. It's a mindful based meditation, compassion on compassion. And it focuses on that. So it focuses on you sitting there and just being in that feeling of imagining your days without this, or imagining now what your life would be. So literally putting yourself in that position, not just trying to look and think about it, but literally doing that.
Yeah.
Your life without that. And that meditation helps kind of, solidify in your brain that this is how that feels. I mean, that's why it's not fun to do, right? Because who wants to sit and think, wow, what's my life going to feel like without my person? Or now my person's sick and I have to take off a lot of time from work to, do the things that I need to do. So that's one piece. But in dealing with each other, those lenses that I talked about, not looking like, maybe you're a person who feels like, well, suck it up, and just move on, right? Maybe you're that, whereas another person might feel like, oh my gosh, I couldn't come to work for 3 months if that happened to me, right? So you've got people on every part of the spectrum. And so just having that basic respect for each other, to know that some people are very sensitive, some people are not. Some people are able to compartmentalize those feelings and not let them interfere with work. Other people aren't able to do that. Some people just kind of fall apart when things happen because they don't have maybe the resilience built, or they don't have some skill base that they could have had. And so, how we process it does come from our past experiences, but also how we help others to process comes from our back experiences. And coming in with just a lens of respect. And it doesn't matter if that person's processing or doing it the way you do it. They're not you, right? But you still, out of basic human decency, you work with that. You work with that person. It's not your job to criticize or judge or whatever that person. It's when we start engaging in those distortions. Like I said, one of them is, it's called the shoulds. And the shoulds mean you're always looking like, this should be that should be this should be that. And so you're constantly judging, right? And when something isn't the way you think it ought to be, then if you're in charge of that, you might want to crank that up a notch and say, hey, you know what, you should be processing this better. You should be more productive, even though you just went through this or whatever. So, now I'm going to punish you a little bit to make you work harder or something. And that would all be my distortion coming in. That's really my problem, but I'm making it someone else's problem, right? My baggage is now, my judgmental nature, if you will, is now going to make someone else's life a living, So those sorts of things.